Hey, Lawley?
What?
What time did we start recording this?
I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
I know, it was 8 o'clock.
Oh,
It
really?
is now 12:30 in the morning.
I think we started trying to record at 3 p.m., but it ended up being at 7.
Oh, man.
We're off to a flying start.
Jake? Jake, can you hear me? Hang in there. I'm gonna take care of you, buddy. You're gonna be alright.
I really love the way that they did this intro.
They did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a top AAA budget movie introduction, and it's just pretty impressive.
If I were to do an intro for a game, it would probably just be like Star Wars credits.
I remember a mod I played for Max Payne 1, which actually had this style of intro.
Really?
Yeah, it was really weird because it was a prequel to Max Payne where he was a university professor and voiced by a guy from France.
I see.
Not even attempting Max Payne's voice, by the way, but speaking in English, so it was surreal as shit.
Was it the same character? I mean, was it supposed to be
Yeah,
Max
it was
Payne?
Max Payne.
Oh, man.
At the end of the game, he even says, "I think I'll become a police officer."
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's Tom Stoffel.
Tom Stoffel did the soundtrack and most of the voices, which I find very impressive.
He did really good.
Yes.
Isn't it, We Create Games or We Create Stuff have a kind of common pool of voice actors that are shared?
I'm not sure. Okay.
Might leave that in, actually. Who knows? So, this is Underhell.
Yep.
You two know a lot more about it than I do.
I know that getting a camera to run on a source engine track makes it look clunky, so it's not really the fault of the developers. Ever used Camtool ROM cinematic cameras in Gary's mod?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so you know how much of a pain in the ass it is to make a panning shot like this look good. And
Yeah.
all things considered, this is a really good panning shot.
They did pretty good.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of curious that it starts out in the bathroom, which is a room the main character refuses to go into.
That's intentional,
At
I
the
think.
beginning. Yeah.
You know, that might
okay.
hold plot significance. It may not.
His wife is dead in the bathtub. That's my assumption from not having completed this
spoilers.
game, unlike you two. Was I right? Oh, fuck it, don't answer that.
Whoops.
Oh, dear me.
Well, I suppose he could put spoilers ahead and all that.
I am a...
Interesting thing about the keys, they usually always spawn at different locations, but they just happen to spawn right next to each other this run.
Yeah, you know, I really love that about the randomized system. Like, every randomized aspect of this game is really interesting, and it really does warrant multiple playthroughs.
One of the things that I kind of noticed during this tip screen is that for some reason it goes into slow motion. You can see it from the fans, but I guess that's a neat touch.
I just noticed whenever I clicked the button that the fan sped up, so I assumed that was some kind of weird, power I had over dimension. Also, it's kind of curious, as you can see, like, little things are twinkling, the interactable objects.
Oh, yes. That's actually a good game design factor, because players are attracted towards things that are somewhat abnormal. So, this is a classic example of that, twinkling items. This has been around for a long time in games, but it's really well implemented in Underhell.
Luigi's Mansion in a nutshell.
I've got to also mention that despite all that twinkling stuff, I have I have a pain actually finding objects in this game. They are really well hidden for me.
Well, that's part of the challenge, though. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wasn't chastising the game.
Oh,
for
no,
it.
no, no, I wasn't thinking that at all. Like, I understand that, like, even in the attic, it's still kind of hard to find some things because everything would blend into the background otherwise. On my first playthrough, you see, Wally here got lucky when he was recording this because on my first playthrough, the game made me go into the freaking attic, and that was after a couple of scares had already happened to me, and I was really reluctant to go up there. I was like, ah, shit.
In my first run through, I actually took so long that I responded to the terrorist attack 2 days later.
Oh, really?
Really patient terrorists, I might add.
Oh, yeah.
Kept the hostages fed, bandaged, everything.
Oh, man.
It's like, I'm pretty sure Jake only awakens when a terrorist attack is imminent.
Well,
That photo.
there's one thing about this house which really interests me. Is when exactly the house takes place, because there's a certain event that happens near the end of chapter 1, and it shows up on, like, the scars from it show up on Jake as he gets back from chapter 1. So it's really interesting that spooky.
Random scare system.
Yeah.
That actually happened to me on the run through I played before we recorded this morning. That self-same scare.
Oh, I got a double whammy once. I was way out in the that outer backyard area, and I heard a bunch of footsteps, and I was looking around, and I tried to make sure that they weren't mine. But then I heard the audio cue that you hear in the dream for when the guilt is near, but I didn't see him anywhere. And then I started panicking and just bunny hopping back to the house. And then I saw him flash right in front of me, and I was like, nope, nope. And then I went back to the house, and then the phone rang, and it was that freaking scream sound. That got me good, seriously.
The house actually does have a good way of lulling you into a full sense of security at times.
Yeah.
Like, when you start out, there is that kind of low tension about it, but then you just kind of slowly realise through the random events that shit ain't right. Or you can have it like Lawley and walk into the kitchen and have all the cabinets explode.
Right. The house was done really well, because I don't ever see haunted houses in horror games done right. This is the first game where I've ever seen a haunted house done right.
What about Nightmare House?
Nightmare House is different. It seemed like a level, pretty much, with like skeletons popping out. But like the haunted house in Underhell made it seem like it was a lived-in place, and due to small things like doors opening and closing where you're not around, that really added to the tension. Like, to someone who didn't know what was going on, it would just seem like someone else was living with you, but you know for a fact that you're the only one in the house. That's how you do haunted houses right. That's how you do ghosts right.
I remember I was reading a story on Facepunch, but apparently they found out there was a guy living behind a secret bookcase door, and he stole their Halloween candy, and they found creepy dolls under his blankets in his some kind of crawl space. And it even had a creepy spiral staircase that went down underground.
Oh. Just kicking random things, are you, Lolly?
I really like the kick system.
Well, you gotta get in that SWAT training. It's actually a note. This was done on the SMod engine, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was done on a modified version of the SMod engine, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's tons of variants on SMod.
Oh, I think MXZ and the rest of the team, they even added a couple of features to SMod.
It's kind of weird when, like, the base version of SMod is this high-octane mod where you can, like, jump 50 feet in the air, go in slow motion, and pop off a million headshots. And then, like, the second most known is SMod Tactical, which is like an old Rainbow Six adaptation. So, it's kind of really adaptable. I mean, it's working here in a horror mod.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this code change game mechanic, I haven't seen it once while I was playing Chapter 1. I mean, like, I know that every time that I loaded the level back in, it was a different code, but it didn't change every, like, 10 seconds on my playthrough.
Well done. Remember to be
I mean, in the tutorial it did, but not in, like, the actual gameplay. I wonder if they're gonna implement that in Chapter 2.
I just like that he's so specific, 3 times in a row. This is a hard-coded security feature.
Huh.
We've standardized alarms. They go apeshit after 3 tries.
Well, have you ever seen the commentary for Conker's Bad Fur Day?
Can't say I have.
Oh, it's really fun. It's a good listen, and I recommend it. But they say that, like, 3 is the magic number for video games. It's not too much, it's not too little.
Also works into comedy, you got the rule of 3.
Yeah, rule of 3.
I see Lawley's making great use of his flares, showing true SWAT inclination.
When I was doing this tutorial part, like, I was just jumping around and saying, like, okay, cool. Yeah, Frank, I understand.
I know how to eat, Frank.
No, in all seriousness, this is a good way to deliver the game mechanics. I just wish I didn't, like, lock off the door.
It does feel a bit like a forced tutorial, though, when they explain. They basically say, you know, Jake, maybe you want to keep a can of Red Bull on you at all
these
times.
Guys are coming up. They will say something different every single time that you come to this area, and it's always interesting.
I had a conversation about him blowing up a terrorist with an explosive barrel on my run.
I got one where they were arguing, like, about whether or not it was cool to play Contra alone, and they were talking about the Konami code. It was pretty funny. And then before that, they were talking about the events of Nightmare House, which is really interesting.
There's actually a few references to Nightmare House in this.
Yeah, there are.
I was actually reading up on this, but apparently Frank Green is actually friends with the squad leader of that squad.
Huh.
You actually do get, in the prologue, you can actually get a call at some point while going through the subway system. Oh, I just sent a team to No Hope. Sorry,
oh,
not No
I think
Hope.
right now they're making a reference to another mod that, shit, I forgot the name of it. I know it was a horror mod that I live streamed once, and it was also done in the Source engine.
You were talking about the random scare system a bit ago, but that kind of was first seen in Nightmare House, wasn't it?
I think it was. I think it might have been.
Yeah, are you sure you are talking about Nightmare House too?
Oh yeah, sometimes the guards talk about the events of Nightmare House too.
Oh yeah, Lawley, you know the fellow who did the weapon animations, don't you?
Oh yeah, I do.
Well, all except for one weapon.
Yeah, he decided to not do a specific weapon that you'll see later on, but he absolutely fucking hates it because he didn't get a chance to do it and he thinks it was done terribly.
Also, there's a small degree of soft aiming on this. If you ever get the SOCOM, you can press the middle mouse button and a laser sight comes on, which then you can kind of see the soft aiming in action.
Yeah, soft aiming is a remnant of SMod.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually like soft aiming. Oh yeah, well we sped this one up.
Yeah, it took a little bit too long.
And then he crossfaded. I think that was part of the random scare system. You gotta beat this at 4 times speed.
Imagine. I'm really looking forward to the upcoming co-op in this game because I was thinking that they could do a prequel campaign with there was a group of 2 brothers in Chapter 1 and the dynamic between them was really good, and I'm pretty sure that you can make a good co-op campaign that's like a prequel to that.
Pretty sure they had that planned.
They might. I don't know. I'm not part of the dev team.
No, I could probably send this to the person that makes the weapon animations. Maybe it'll get spread to them.
Nah, I don't want to influence game development. They seem to know what they're doing.
Recognize me under all this gear? It's your standard loadout. Vest, mask, that whole deal. Nothing you're not familiar with. But take a good look. You do well to get used to what a friendly target looks like. In the field, you have a split second to identify and neutralize a suspect. And you better be sure it's a bad guy.
So Mike volunteered for that part.
I'm just gonna say this now, I do not work well with friendly NPCs.
Oh, neither
That's
do I,
all.
especially in Source, where they like to cluster up around you.
Like, I think they actually had better survival odds when I pissed off and just left them to their own devices
Oh,
rather
yeah,
than actually try and
definitely.
orchestrate anything.
If you send your squad mates somewhere and go away, they will eventually try to come back and find you. It's not really smart to leave your mates behind. Now, order him to regroup. Alright.
I don't recall ever having to use these skills in Chapter 1. I think
never
that
use them.
I think that the developers are trying to prepare you for like later chapters when they actually do implement this stuff. You use this in prologue sometimes, but that's about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the prologue is a SWAT operation that goes horribly wrong.
Right.
Spoilers.
Well, you are, like, training to be a SWAT. There's not really much other things that can happen.
It also establishes why Jake can survive all the shit that happens to him over the course of the game.
Right.
Well, in my case, when I played this tutorial, it just makes me wonder why, you know, Mike wasn't the survivor, because I lost to him by over half.
Who knows? We might actually meet up with Mike in a later chapter. Like,
wouldn't
pretty
be
much
surprised.
since the game ends in the city, pretty much anything can go.
I will say, thanks to games like Postal 2, any game where I can kick down a door, I'm a happy man.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't recall if that's actually a feature of SMod. I think that was...
The kick is definitely...
No, I know that the kick was a
yeah.
feature of SMod, but actually kicking open doors. Oh wow, you actually beat him.
Yeah, you can actually lose
My
it.
first time against Mike, I was like 8-16 or something.
Oh.
Yeah, I did pretty bad.
That's about what I did.
Yeah.
When you do lose, it sounds kind of like he's patting you on the head like a small child, like, you'll do better next time, Bubsy.
Yeah.
There is actually a fair bit of dialogue depending on what
There's a-
happens, but
There's a weird lighting effect here. I'm not sure what causes it.
Yeah, it was kind of distracting how horrifying he looked because of his eyes.
he looks like a a Walking Dead character gone horribly wrong in that lighting.
In Snake, you know how I mentioned a lot of the characters don't have facial expressions?
Oh, you know what? That's actually not really the fault of the developers, because it's I think it's using assets from Cinematic Mod, and the models on that, they don't have upper facial flexes. I tried using them in Source Filmmaker. I really don't think that they have upper facial flexes.
Welcome to military heaven, Jake.